Hello everyone and welcome to the Eaton Grange Estate episode 4. We are down a Lord Victor, aka the Noir, but the show must go on. He may join us later. We're waiting to hear back, but his internet is having some issues. So, and do let me know if music is too loud or anything of that sort, because I'm in a different setup. I'm at my brother's house, so it's exciting. With me, as always, is Storybrewers, aka Haley, who is our facilitator, and then as well I have below me Apocalypto12, who is playing Arthur Beddington, and Catherine Taylor, and we have some more characters in the mix, which Storybrewers is playing, but we don't have space for all those names. It's just too many names. But before we get the show started, I'm going to do a little intro, talk about stuff and things. So first and foremost, we want to do a huge shout out to Roll20, who are our sponsors. They are amazing. And if you watch our Thursday Ascension show, we showed off a lot of really cool Roll20 features. There's a lot of cool scripts that you can run. There's custom sheets that you can have. If you watch our show and you're curious about how to do maps and stuff of that sort, that is how we do it. We do it all through Roll20. So if you've never used that, and you can also use it with non-rolling games too. You can use it with card games and all kinds of things. So if, you know, you're trying to find a virtual way to play with your friends, I think that Roll20 is pretty fantastic. They also pay me to say that. No, I'm just kidding. We've been using them for years, way beyond and way before we ever, were sponsored by them, but we appreciate them greatly. Beyond that, we would also like to thank our supporter today, which is Empiric. I believe that he was our supporter for last episode too, so thank you. The best ways to support us, if you would like to become a supporter of our show, is to become a patron, and if you are legend tier or above, you get to support a full episode, which is pretty fantastic. And all of that pay goes towards helping us pay our cast members, which lets the show roll and lets us, continue on, which is great, and tell amazing stories. Up on our Patreon right now, we also have new letters that come out every Friday. So if you already saw the letters, you know what juicy things are stirring up between all the characters here. Some of those letters you will hear today, and some of them will not appear for maybe until next episode or the episode after that. So you get to be like in the know of what letters people have been receiving, which there's some spicy ones. And of course, beyond that, we also have E's Piety. That word's always so weird. Packs and patrons notes that are up, as well as the new character sheet for Acolyte Bridget Rosenworth is coming. So if you are curious what her stuff looks like, it's going to be cool to see that. Beyond being a patron, you can also support us over on Twitch. If you're watching us live right now, you can become a subscriber, and that gives you access to emotes and the videos in advance. But if you're over on our YouTube channel, you can become a YouTube member, and that gives you access to those emotes as well. And if you are a patron, a Twitch sub, or a YouTube member, you get access to our private Discord where you can talk to us. There's lots of chatter happening about all the shows, and also theories about people's characters. I think in some of them we're all like, oh man, they figured it out, and others were like, oh, we should have thought of that. But either way, very, very enjoyable. Of course, not everyone can support in monetary means, and we understand that. We want you to focus on you and you first. So there are a lot of ways to support us that are non-monetary, like watching us live right here on Twitch goes a long way. Making clips while you're watching us live, watching over on YouTube, subscribing, liking, commenting, and of course following us on Twitter and Facebook, liking, sharing, and retweeting and commenting all the things. There is a tweet out right now if you want to go over there and give it a good retweet, and a Facebook post if you want to share it. And that is going to be it. So I'm going to hand it over to our lovely facilitator, Storybrewers, to give us a recap and begin episode 4 of the Eaton Grange Estate.
Hello, and yes, welcome to episode 4 of the Eaton Grange Estate. So last session we had our upstairs and downstairs cast combined. There was a lot of drama, some secrets were spilled, some tea was spilled, some food was spilled literally. And today we are returning with our upstairs cast to follow the fallout of many of the things that happened last session. Today, as always in this series, we are playing Good Society, a Jane Austen RPG, which is a collaborative role-playing game for telling a Jane Austen story together. And in particular, we are playing Downstairs at the Abbey, which is the expansion for telling upstairs and downstairs stories like this one. And as Margaret alluded to, characters have received some very interesting letters that we are going to begin our session by diving into. So on the top of the hill, looking down over all of Hartford, sits the one, the only Eaton Grange. The house winds up over 3 floors. It is imposing, it is austere, and it is easily visible from miles around. And there are a few places within Eaton Grange that could be really described as cozy. It's not really the architectural vibe of the estate, but there is one on the 2nd floor. There is a small drawing room, not often used for guests, where one might go to read one's private correspondence of a chill evening, where the fire is being lit by a servant. The decor is perhaps not as intense as some of the other rooms of the house. It's a soft pastel colors dominate. The couches are particularly comfortable. And in that drawing room sits Lady Lydia Ward, who has received a letter from her friend, the Baroness. Tyler, would you like to let us know what the Baroness has written to Lydia?
My dear Lydia, what in the world could have happened in merely a few days to cause quite a stir? Don't you dare speak of yourself in matters of lost and loneliness in such a way. You are a gem that any person would be blessed to hold, adore, provide for, and any fool that would be so distracted has deceived or betrayed you as a person not worthy of the blooming flower that is your heart. Do not let it wilt away, for that will only cause you more pain, and allow such fools in this world to believe they have power over you. Be strong, my dear. As for your brother, if you do believe he would lend some insight into matters that are at hand, I would say having another conversation with him would be, if anything, at least insightful. If I do remember correctly, he was rather forthright in your previous conversation about his intentions, and maybe you can find out exactly more about what forced him from being there for you as your brother. Given your view into his motivations for returning, perhaps your wisdom and your wit can allow you to see through whatever distortions of the truth he may be sowing. With some well-placed questions and seemingly naive curiosity, perhaps you can get him to reveal more than perhaps he would give away freely. Playing the dame can have its advantages, you know. I do wish I could have been there during all of this simply to speak through it, but my youngest is teething and driving the nanny mad. However, given the news, she will have to make do, as I will not allow you to face whatever nonsense is going on alone. Do let your mother know I will be visiting and staying for at least one night. I am already packing, and I will make my way over as hastily as possible. Your confidant, the Baroness.
Given the
Chat wants to ship them. I'm like, she's already married, you guys. They're like, is it too late to ship Catherine and Lydia? And I was like, a little late.
Approximately 1 year, as we just learned.
Yeah.
But given the events that have befallen Lydia recently, and this letter from her friend, what's her vibe on this day? Getting this letter, what's her reaction to this?
Lydia's reaction? I think she's kind of relieved. You know, I think when they were younger, maybe they got to hang out a lot more. And now that she's married, Lydia doesn't see the Baroness as much. And so it's a lot of writing and anticipation of letters back and forth from one another. And I think she's heartwarmed that her friend would, you know, drop everything to come, even though she knows that, like, she has a family of her own that she needs to worry about. So it's endearing, I think.
And of course, along with that letter, Lydia also is holding a letter from someone inside the household that was mentioned by the Baroness, her brother, a letter from Victor. Are you able to read that one, Margaret? For
Yeah,
us
I can.
As Lydia is looking at it.
Unfortunately, Lord Victor's not with us at this moment, so you see Lydia kind of. Does it have like his, what do you call it? Like stamp on it or whatever? Seal?
It was. I mean, given that it was set inside the same household, I don't.
I wonder if it wouldn't. I don't know how secretive he is with his letters. It's interesting.
I guess we'll find out.
Okay. Well, all right. Lydia opens it up and begins reading it. To my dear sister, I do not expect these words to offer any measure of comfort, but I intend to stay true to my promise to you to tell you the truth. Seeing your misfortune brought me no pleasure, and I can assure you that my placement at the table was simply old habits. But beyond that, underneath it, there is more, and that frightens me. It reminds me of the old parable of the scorpion and the frog. Sister, I pray it is not my nature to cause you suffering. I hope that should the day come where I have the opportunity to regain my station in this house, that it will not come at a cost to you. These are foolish dreams, and hopes, but yet they remain. If there remains any goodwill in your heart for me, I would dare to lean on you for yet more patience, as I have a request for you. I do not know what it is that you have done to Grace, but I see a pain in her when you are present. Please, I implore you to be kind. Grace is good and kind and a wonder with the children. Your brother, Victor. I think you see Lydia, like, crumple the letter and, like, just roll her eyes at him, you know, not understanding the situation, and that Lady Lydia actually is really kind to the staff, other than when she's in front of her mother.
And speaking of her mother, there is the sound of the drawing room door creaking open, as we see Countess Lavinia Ward. On this occasion, she is looking less intense than we have seen her previously. She has a book tucked under her arm. She's wearing her glasses, which are finely made, but she's sort of adjusting as she walks in, and she's surprised to see Lydia there. Ah, my darling, you've come to read. I had the same idea. And she holds up her book, which unfortunately is about estate management, but you know, needs must.
Lydia nods and shoves the letters that she had in her hand into like a dress pocket and goes back to the book that was sitting next to her teacup.
What are you reading?
Nothing that you would want to read, Mother. Just another romance novel.
Well, I've read more than enough romance novels in my time.
She slides the book over.
And the Countess picks it up and is like, la la la, a duke, okay? A young lady courting a duke, yes, but nobody knows that he's a duke. Oh, until everything is revealed in the final page. Sounds like a classic.
Predictable, as per usual. She takes the book back.
Well, predictability is not that much of an ill. It means that we get what it is that we are searching for.
But don't you ever want to have mystery? Not know the end of the story before you read it?
Well, by my age, you begin to realize that predictability is, that mystery is perhaps overrated. That the things that you have around you right now are perhaps the best things to shape your future with. Which reminds me, I did want to talk to you, Lydia.
Oh, and what would that be about, Mother?
Well, and I think she sits down and she places her book down on the table and removes her spectacles, places them neatly on top. About everything, I suppose. Things have been rather busy since Victor returned, and you and I haven't really had a chance to have a conversation about it.
About what in particular? Victor?
Let's begin there. Has your brother behaved courteously towards you?
Lydia pauses and kind of looks off and then looks back at her mother. Of course, Mother.
She sort of raises her eyebrows a little bit. She is a bit skeptical of this. But she doesn't push the matter with Lydia. She says, his arriving back home in the household, no doubt he thinks he is entitled to something just by virtue of being here. But you should know this. My faith in you is unshakable, my dear. And I have no intention to give him anything that you have earned.
That is of reassurance. But what if there are things that I don't want?
Such as what?
I do not know at this moment, but perhaps there will be.
Well, if there are, I hope that you will tell me about it.
And what of my brother? I don't think he comes with the thoughts of entitlement, but more of hope.
To tell you honestly, I haven't quite figured out what to do with him yet. And she sort of crosses her legs with a contemplative face. It is better that he is here than making a fool of himself in society. I suppose it will depend how he conducts himself.
And how would you have him conduct himself?
It is my opinion that even though he has been gone all this time, he's still a child. He still views things through a very narrow lens. The way he thinks of you and I, with some sort of grand drama. I suppose I had heard he had written a play.
What do you think he thinks of you and I?
As if we are punishing him for some wrongdoing.
And what would I have done to him to make him think that I have punished him?
Well, you must think about it from his point of view. You have taken everything that he possesses. I have given it to you.
But that is not of my doing. I did not take it from him. It was given.
I know, darling, but that is not usually how the dispossessed see it.
Did you talk to him about this? Is this truly how he feels, or is this your interpretation of what he thinks?
Victor and I have had many conversations since his return. None of them have gotten anywhere. He is too caught up in his own opinion of me to think realistically about his future. And despite the many warnings I have given him, he seems unable to heed them. I fear he is doomed to repeat the acts of destruction that led him from this place.
And what were those acts, Mother?
Well, I suppose you're old enough to know. And as you are my heir, you ought to know everything pertinent. He had designs on someone entirely inappropriate. He asked me for permission to seek their hand. I refused that permission. And he said he was going to do it anyway. I told him that given that he was in my household, my word was final. And that I do not make these decisions lightly. I make them for the welfare, not just of him, but also of this estate, this family, and our future. He was not content with that. He could not see the bigger picture. He could only feel the immediacy of the feelings burning in his heart. And so, rather than heed my words, he chose to leave.
But isn't the well-being of his heart also important to you, Mother?
It is greatly important, but you cannot confuse the well-being. You cannot confuse the passions of the heart in a single moment with the well-being of the heart over a lifetime. You think that your father was the first suitor I ever had? Of course not. But I loved him deeply.
I want to play my monologue token on the Countess when she speaks of her late husband.
Ooh.
What she's thinking of.
What she's really
in that
thinking.
moment. Yeah.
Versus what she said. I'm into it.
So, by the rules of good society, you cannot play your monologue token on a connection. Only
That makes sense.
However, you can offer a resolve token to compel her to reveal more of her thoughts.
Ooh, do that.
I'll do that then.
Mm-hmm. So you want her to talk more about what she's really thinking about her husband.
Yeah, like her
late husband,
true
yeah.
feelings.
Mm-hmm.
I want to know the emotions of not having her husband around anymore as well.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I've got you. So I think at that point, if Lydia will let her, she will take Lydia's hand.
Yeah, I think Lydia would, of course.
My darling, this is a story that you do not know. But when your father and I first met, I was already courting someone else. Someone who my family believed would not make a suitable husband for me. Yet, when they told me, I did not mind heeding their words. For at that time, your father and I had already seen in each other the spark of something that could carry us further through the years. And would you know, it did not take us long between courting and marriage. But of course, you've heard that part of the story many times. It is still hard for me without him here. Hard for all of us, I'm sure. This house seems too big somehow, no matter how many people are within it.
I do miss him. You barely speak of him. You make it feel like this home is, well, like we're not allowed to.
Yes, well, I admit the topic is painful for me.
Should Victor and I not know more of our father? Not hold on to the memories that we have with him through speaking of them? Cherishing them? Your heart is not the only one that hurts.
I know, darling. Very well. I will try to keep a more open mind about these conversations.
Are you well, Mother?
Quite well. Why? Are there rumors? There's always rumors about Countess when she reaches a certain age.
No. It is just unlike you to be so... And she just kind of, points at her.
My dear...
Oh no. You froze on us again whenever you get back.
Oh no, am I returned?
Yeah, you're back now.
Yes.
Am I back?
Yeah.
I don't always know I'm frozen because sometimes it takes a little bit longer for you to freeze, so I still think I'm okay.
You said well, and that's all we heard.
Oh, my dear Lydia, you are the jewel of my heart. You are the person who will carry on this family's good name. And whatever you decide this family will become, that is what it will be. My hope is to guide you to a place where this family can be something that you and society can be proud of, that it can be grander, and that it can be more known and more well considered than ever before. That is what it means to bear the role of Countess. So, of course, you must feel a readiness to take your place leading this family one day. I care about you greatly.
But can we not have both? Can we not have love and estate?
We do. It is the love of family. It is far truer, far more enduring than any other form.
Then what of Victor?
It is Victor who has seemingly given up on us. Why he has chosen to return when his mind is still in such a state, I do not know. But if he wishes me to be the villain in his play, he will find me as such until he looks upon me with a different light, until he understands that I want what is best for him. That won't change. Am I upset with him? Of course I am. You're not blind to the rumors that he has been spreading about me in my own household.
Lydia kind of grins and, and then quickly tries to hide it.
I think like even the Countess, like when she sees Lydia grinning, she sort of like raises an eyebrow and she says, one day you will take these things very seriously.
They are rumors, Mother. One is not to believe everything one hears.
Certainly, but if other people believe it,
then they are fools.
The truth.
Does that
It does not matter if they are fools or not.
You spoke of someone before, Father. What of him? Has he married?
He married someone more appropriate to his station.
Does that not hurt?
I came to realize with time that the decision that my family had counseled me to make was the far better one.
And what made you decide that? What changed?
Well, I got to know your father. I understood his contribution to this household. And as I said, I began to love him dearly. And moreover, the title of Countess became mine. And I saw what society expects and demands of someone who bears that title. I despise those who would take something so well regarded and valuable and such a privilege as a title such as that and sully it with poor decisions that lead to the ill repute of themselves and their family for generations to come. Could there be a greater act of negligence? That is why Victor cannot bear this title.
But what if he, like you, realizes what matters?
When that day comes, then I shall be surely so shocked. I cannot say what I will do. But my dear, how are things going with Mr. Beddington?
Lydia kind of looks out the window and then back at her mother and picks up the tea and drinks some and then sits it back down with a light clink. I think it is going well.
I'm glad to hear that. And do you favor him?
I'm not certain. He's nice and clever, handsome. I'm just not sure, Mother. He's invited me to go fencing, so perhaps...
Good. He can show you an activity at which I know he has had a great deal of practice. No doubt, seeing his moment of prowess will fill you with further esteem for him.
Perhaps. If I don't make a fool of myself in the process.
I'm sure he would not do it that way. Arthur will become very important to this family.
Do you know anything of his family? Or who his family once was? I did speak to him about this the other night when we were dancing. I had never asked him before, but the two of us have never really had a chance to speak.
Not much is known about his family. They, unfortunately, were both lost in an accident that he barely survived himself.
And how did you come to know of him and take him in?
Well, when we were looking for relatives, those whose care he was placed in temporarily are mutual acquaintances of mine. And indeed, he stayed here, I'm not sure if you recall, while we were searching for his relations.
I don't really remember it much, but I was younger.
And after a point, he had simply been here for months, and given that we could find no connections of his, it seemed best that he remained so. Your father thought it was a very good thing to do indeed.
Sounds like something Father would do.
We did find the name of his mother, but it never assisted us in locating his family.
And what was his mother's name?
Well, that's a story for another time, my dear. I want to focus on you and your feelings and your plans.
But if your focus is for my feelings to be of Mr. Beddington, then shouldn't I know more of him?
Indeed you should, and that is why you should spend as much time together as the day will allow.
She kind of holds in a rolling of her eyes. She just wants more of the juicy story that her mom doesn't want to share.
I will leave you to your book now, but I'm glad to hear that things are going along well between you. For I do think that Arthur has a lot to contribute to this family.
There was a tiny misunderstanding, but I think
she's like,
was
she's
just a
getting up
misunderstanding.
to leave, and she's like rolling around. What kind of misunderstanding?
It was nothing. Literally spilt tea.
And it has been resolved.
I believe so.
I shall talk to him about it.
Sorry, Arthur.
And she leaves. And speaking of Arthur, Arthur goes to deliver a note to Grace. Is this a slip under the door situation?
He would probably enlist Milton.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, nice.
For Milton to deliver this for him on his behalf, with haste.
Mm-hmm.
And in doing so, he would already be heading out to the garden at night, throwing on his jacket fully buttoned up, which I will do right now.
Milton would very quickly, yes, of course, and rush to Grace's quarters and She hears a knock.
Does Milton look at does Milton try to look through the paper to take a look at what words might be written on the other side, or is he the soul of discretion in this moment?
I feel like Milton is not that type of person. I feel like, you know, Angus and Milton are roommates and they are very different, and I feel like Angus would look at it. Yeah. Milton is like, you know, he gave me a thing, I'm gonna do the thing unless he tells me I can read it or can't read it, you know. He will do so.
Grace opens the door.
Miss Clark, he hands you the letter.
She takes the letter.
It's unsealed. There's nothing on the outside indicating that it's for her other than Milton knows.
I was told to get this to you as quickly and discreetly as possible.
Grace flips the letter open immediately. What does it say?
Grace, we need to speak immediately, privately, and without peering eyes or listening ears. Meet me in the garden by the hydrangeas tonight. I believe there is a rather secluded space there, away from where most would wander. Arthur.
A look of dismay washes over Grace's face and then is quickly gone. Thank you, Milton.
Seemed kind of urgent.
Yes, I'll go right away. And she begins getting ready. Is has Mr. Beddington said anything to you recently? He does have a habit of sharing his mind with.
As you know, Miss Grace, Miss Clark, he shares many a thing with many a people, and I too have had the opportunity to speak with him. Nothing bad about you, I assure you.
And I think she puts on her she puts on an outer layer and wraps her shawl around her neck and heads to the garden.
He seemed confused about matters of the heart, if that matters to you at all. And he kind of looks at you like thinking, does Arthur like Grace? That's what Milton's thinking in his head. Yeah, he's putting two together.
I think she just sighs at Milton. Well, thank you for letting me know. You know, we've known each other for a very long time, Arthur and I.
I do.
So hopefully whatever is ailing him, I can assist. And then she goes down the stairs.
Milton just has a huge grin on his face. He's shipping them. He's like, all right. And he kind of walks slowly back to his room, like humming and whistling.
So yeah, she goes down to the garden and like she goes out into the evening and looks over at where the hydrangeas are. Sighs again, and finally steels herself and walks over to that same spot that she met Lydia not so long ago.
As you approach, you can see Arthur is pacing back and forth and muttering words to himself. Really hard to hear, but it doesn't sound happy.
I think that as she sees him, she says to him, Arthur, we have to go a little further out into the garden if you truly want to be out of earshot. Unless you want anyone to hear what you have to say.
Yes, of course. Lead the way.
She leads the way with a practiced, even though it is dark, she leads the way with a practiced navigational skill that Arthur would immediately notice. To a sort of like secluded clearing, which is the place that her and Lydia finished their conversation the other evening.
You seem as if you've walked this path before.
I do enjoy the gardens. What is it that you called me out so urgently in the middle of the night?
Well, the Countess pulled me aside. Seems as if my family is sending letters again. You do know that this small insight, without asking me first, has caused quite a stir.
So I have heard, and you have made your feelings known on the matter several times.
Yes. And the worst part about it is it leaves me conflicted.
I think when Arthur says this, like, Grace softens, because this is the first time that he has probably let her know that he is considering his family.
It's something the Lady Lydia asked me about when we were dancing. My family came up and, well, I'd like to be able to answer her more. But at the same time, the Countess says that it's unsavory, as if she's met with my family and not allowed me to do the same, which I've known before, but now hits on a deeper level. This doesn't mean I'm not still mad at you for reaching out and causing such an issue, but I have concerns it would negatively impact the family that has given so much to me. And yet, I have a will to know.
Arthur, you care so deeply for the opinions of others and for what this family has given you, and that is a virtue. But
I care deeply of what the others think of others, not me.
You deserve to know who your family is. It does not matter if they are unsavory or scandalous.
But is it not enough?
Family.
Is it not enough to consider those that took me in to be my true family? They're the ones who provided for me when no one else was there. A choice that burdened them so.
They had resources enough to take care of you. But certainly they did you a great favor. No doubt. That doesn't change your right to know. And if they truly cared for you, they would allow you to pursue this, because it is clearly leaving you in conflict.
I merely want this to end. If they really are somebody that would stain the Ward family, I feel as if it would be something that I could step in and take care of. That in a conversation with me would do the most good, but the Countess feels it would just do more harm.
Is that really the reason, Arthur?
Well, if this resolves, it gives me no other reason to be mad at you other than your...
Well, we can't do anything about that. She'll make her own choice.
Also, I'm going to overshare as if we're still friends right now, but Lady Lydia asks of me the same suddenly that her mother does. More of duty and honoring her status more than her person.
Arthur, we are still friends. Look at us. We're here in the garden in the middle of the night. Does that not remind you when we were children? Whenever you played with Victor and things did not go well between you, or the Countess asked you to do something that you did not wish to do, but that she said was important, or you just were lonely, didn't... Didn't we look to each other for company in those times?
Without speaking a word, he's just gonna look away and just kind of stand staring towards the moon.
I know you are upset with me, but that does not erase our friendship. I keep trying to make you understand that this place, it is just one place.
But it's the closest thing to a home that I have ever known, even though I feel so foreign here.
Your home should not be a place where you feel, well, out of place. It should be a place you feel you belong, that you can be natural, that you can be yourself.
Grace, tell me, why, if they so still stand, did you have affections for the Lady Lydia?
But do you really want to ask me that?
Yes, it's one of the things that could make our friendship, in my mind, no longer a thing of the past.
Very well, I will tell you, but will you at least sit down and stop pacing?
He'll look around for a rock to sit on as opposed to the dirt.
I think there's a log.
He'll go to the log.
And Grace will sit down on the other side of the log. Not too close as to presume their friendship is restored, but sort of to talk more quietly. Lydia, she is kind and caring. She knows her own mind most of the time. She gives affection and wants it from others. She knows how to make people smile if she wishes. Her words are, well, when she wants them to be, full of warmth and delight. It is almost as much her peculiarities that drive my affection. The fact that she cares so much about what others think of her. The fact that she will do things impulsively if that is what calls to her in the moment. And
you still carry affections for her.
Where would they have gone, Arthur? Where would they have gone? Is love something to be removed from one's chest and placed on a shelf if it is inconvenient?
I'm still trying to grasp what love is. The only thing that I've felt in my life as far as love is kinship, or duty, or those that would bestow responsibility upon my shoulders. Almost as if it's fleeting.
Well,
only when right is done.
I think Grace, she kind of, a sadness comes across her face. There's a sense that she wants to sort of take Arthur's arm reassuringly, but she knows that he probably wouldn't allow her to do so in this moment. There must be something that brings you a feeling of warmth, of comfort and terror, lest that comfort be torn from you at the same time.
There was at least a glimpse of it.
When?
Before all of this chaos of my family, there was a glimpse of it in our friendship. And even so, for a moment, in a conversation with Lydia in the garden. You know, it's not hard for me to stay angry at you, Grace. And perhaps, depending on what the result of any correspondence I may end up meeting with my eyes of my family, maybe there's something hidden. I don't know. Maybe there's the hope.
Arthur. I swear to you that I will take your part. I will not act again without your permission, without your encouragement. But this connection with your family, it is an opportunity, and it will be hanging over your head for your whole life if you do not take it.
Then I will simply ask this. What have you come to know?
I think there is a better way to give you an answer. I have asked...
You sit here and tell me that I should pursue this, and yet you still withhold information.
I'm withholding nothing. Listen, I have asked a friend in the house to get you a letter. I wasn't going to tell you that I was behind it, but...
There are letters.
Yes. Someone has been sending you letters for months.
Is that why the Countess talked to me earlier? Saying that if I should receive something, not to see it myself, but to hand it over.
Well, I can only imagine that is the reason.
I have never received such a letter.
Well, you shall. My friend has told me that they have obtained one.
I always imagined that family of mine was reaching out to the Countess herself to beg of money or something of the like. Never to actually connect with me.
I do not know what is in the letter, Arthur, but it shall reveal the truth.
At least with it in my hands, I can make the choice for myself.
You can. And in regards to the Lady Lydia, let us not let that tear us apart. Let us both just agree she is lovely.
As I get to know more, perhaps I can.
Okay.
Arthur will like move towards Grace but hesitate.
She will just straight up take his arm and give it a squeeze as soon as she sees that. And then immediately go for a hug if he will let her.
Yeah, that's what he was gonna go for.
Yeah. And I think it's a huge hug. Like there's a lot of emotion behind this from Grace, and like
there's tears
like,
rolling down Arthur's face.
From Grace, the feeling is like hugging your childhood toy that you haven't seen for years, and then you find it, you know, like it's just a big bear hug. And
Can I play a resolve token to have Chauncey see this?
Put it on the Chauncey in the garden list.
Yeah, I feel like it has to be. Chauncey has to see this.
Yeah. Chauncey is the one that's been like stalking. Yeah,
Thank
Grace.
you.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's fine. We'll just make a note for B. In the list of things that Chauncey has overheard, I will add another one to the list.
If I can negotiate on that resolve token, that it's only the last bit where they're merely talking about Lydia and agreeing that she's lovely, and then the hug.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking too, so I'm cool with that.
Okay.
Yeah, that makes sense. I like that. And I feel like we can leave them there in the garden. And when Arthur gets back to his room, there's 2 letters slipped under his door. The first one is from the upper housemaid of the Grange, Ivy Stewart. And the other one is from a Olivia Bed. Which one does Arthur open first?
I imagine, given the circumstances that occurred earlier, he would read Ivy's first.
Okay.
Interesting. I thought he would go for the bed one. Okay. All right.
No, he's hesitant because he doesn't know much of what that letter would be.
All right. Then we shall hear the letter.
To the respectable Mr. Beddington, I was most surprised to receive your letter, but can say with a truthful heart that I understand the concern of tarnishing, or perhaps being as bold to say, embarrassing someone you care for. I am sure the lady understands that the tumble at breakfast was merely an accident. If there was any concern from Lady Lydia, I have, even before receiving your letter, vehemently expressed that I believe none of it was on purpose at all, a simple trip of the shoe, or an unfortunate chain of events. Her dress was quite a mess, though. I worked late last night, scrubbing out any blemish or reminder of the incident, and now it is as good as new. I myself am a romantic, and trust in the process of what love guides us towards. I think the path to love is winding and complicated, and full of dark forest trails and soft sandy beaches, and perhaps a few spilled eggs and biscuits, too. But the journey must be so rewarding at the end. The folly of food should be quickly forgotten, for what is truly important always reigns. I find this may be a grand opportunity to tell you a proper thank you. A thank you for investigating the art that Chauncey decorated Lord Victor's room with before I had a chance to. Lady Hertford, my gracious employer, seemed to take it more in stride than she would have if I had peeled it from the wall. It does not befall me to realize the sacrifice in that. A deepest, heartfelt thank you would not be enough, but hope my words convey gratitude. The way you speak of Lady Lydia is most wonderful, and I am immensely flattered to be compared in any degree. A woman of her station and grace can only be taken as a compliment. Any person would be lucky to have your companionship, and an ounce of your kindness. Even helping the lady remove scraps from her dress, a task that is surely below you. I was humbled by your help, and could not imagine another not being so. You have shown me, and everyone here, nothing but kindness since you have arrived at Eaton Grange. With much respect, Ivy. To the respectable...
That's the letter.
He has a moment of pause as he thinks of what had befallen earlier that morning at breakfast. And he just simply smiles. That somebody would see him in such a light. Even in an action that is, well, below his station. Pick up the other letter and he'd stare at it. Curious. He holds it. Breaks the seal. And then quickly tries to push it back together before it slips out of his hand and opens on the floor.
And as he looks down, he can see the words. Firstly, this letter is dated 2 weeks prior.
Oh, wow.
And it says, Dear Mr. Arthur Beddington, as it seems you have styled yourself. By now, I can only assume that you have not been receiving my letters, perhaps due to postal mix-up or errant storm, as the only circumstance I can imagine that would prevent you writing back to a member of your own family. I would think I had the wrong address, but this letter I have from Miss Grace Clark seems very sure you are in Eaton Grange. I only wish to meet you as a second cousin and show you around the estate. Have you considered whether you will take up residence? I know Eleonora would have wanted you to do so. At any rate, seeing Crawford Park empty is strange to me. You should walk its halls, even if you don't intend to live there. If you do not want me writing you further, then cousin, simply let me know. But until then, I will continue to try and reach you. Olivia. And there's a return address.
Oh, and I'm definitely playing a monologue token on that.
Yeah.
I would like to know what is going through Arthur's head as he reads that not only does he have a cousin, but there is an estate in his name.
He's already crying. It seemed as if he had cried enough already tonight, but this is beyond that. I have a home. I have what I can only believe is my mother's name. And a cousin who's been trying to reach me. A family. A place that maybe memories can wander and reappear in my mind. What is this place? Is it like I dreamed? Or is it damaged like my nightmares? Will it haunt me or will it welcome me? If I must go, I cannot bring myself to visit alone. Who would I bring with me? My dearest friend Grace, who I can thank this for, or somebody to which I may hold affections for the future? But how would I even bring Lydia without the Countess knowing? And how can I even bring myself to go as it stands and share this letter with somebody to which... Wait. 2 weeks ago, my home's been hidden from me. What is the Countess doing? This isn't unsavory. Am I just a pawn in a game? Does Lydia know? Does Victor know of this? Has this all been a ploy with my entire life and being to take what is my family's and what is mine? I must explore this further before before I visit.
That's spicy.
That is. And with that, the evening reaches its end. And a new day dawns forth on the household of Eaton Grange. And this day is when the Baroness is due to arrive for her visit. How does she arrive? Is she accompanied with anyone, by anyone, or is she arriving by herself? And what kind of entrance does she make with her bags? I'm imagining that the servants are prepared for her arrival by Lydia.
There's a lot of bags. Way more luggage than you would necessarily need for one night, but she likes to be prepared and planned ahead with numerous gowns and numerous fits, and probably some gifts for her friend as well. Merely standing and instructing the servants in a kind gesture of, oh, that one would go here, and make sure that this goes to the Lady Lydia's room. Oh, and that... Yes. Where is Lady Lydia?
I think with like hearing that, you can see her kind of coming down the stairs, and she kind of like rushes forward and greets you with a hug.
Oh, my dear friend, what is happening?
I'm sorry. Yeah. For those of you who are listening to MP3, Tyler just put on a filter and it's killing me. I think she just like rushes forward and gives you a hug, and she's like, "It's so nice to see you. I'm so glad that you were able to make it. How was your travel? Was it good weather?"
I paid no attention to the travel. I merely was thinking about arriving here and being at your aid.
Oh, come now, come. You must be hungry, thirsty?
More eager to listen, if anything. I must know what's been going on.
She kind of like nods and points to the others to do stuff, and then takes you up to one of the rooms, like one of the drawing rooms or something.
Mm-hmm.
And as we're walking, she's like, "Oh, I was shocked that you wrote me so quickly and that you came. How's your family?"
They're quite well. I'm sure by the letter you can tell it's been quite an eventful few weeks, given that my youngest is teething and simply crying and whining constantly. It fills my days and even my dreams when I do get to sleep.
I can imagine so. I wonder what it would be like to have children of my own, that is. I think of it more often now than ever before.
Does that mean there's a positive note? It seemed like there was a flurry of anguish and fear and loneliness in your letter.
I know, I'm sorry. Bit of a dramatic letter, I say.
As love always is.
It is true. I'm confused about many things. Come. She kind of like quickly brings you into the room and pours some tea, exactly how you like it. And the two of you kind of like sit down by one of the large windows where you can see the garden. A suitor said some things that I didn't like. And Mr. Beddington, well, there was a misunderstanding. Or I think there might have been.
There are two suitors.
Probably more than that. She tries to cover her tracks.
But it wasn't Arthur who insulted you.
I thought he had insulted me. My brother sat at my chair at the table, and the two of them were laughing, and when I arrived to sit down, he spilled food all over me, and I had just arrived.
And how did he react?
Well, apologetic. He was trying to clean my dress, but I don't know. He could have been acting. I don't know. And I was upset in the moment and cleaned up. But later that evening, we had ice cream together.
Alone?
No. Miss Pan was there, she says.
Of course. And did the ice cream later clear it up? Was your letter in between these moments?
Yes. I apologize. The ice cream was very late in the evening. I had already sent the letter, and the ice cream just made it more confusing.
Well, it is cold, and I've been known to get a brain freeze every now and then eating ice cream late at night.
It wasn't like that. I couldn't sleep, and apparently neither could he, and we were both craving strawberry ice cream. We didn't get strawberry ice cream, we got lemon ice cream, but that's besides the point.
It seems at least you have a similar taste. What happened then? Did you converse, or just sit there in silence?
Well, I confronted him, kind of, and, well, he made it known that he didn't mean to do it, like I thought he did.
And why would he have meant to do it? Because of his friendship with your brother?
Indeed. My brother has been known to make far more plotting devices than food being spilled on one.
And you would think one as Arthur would choose to go against you for your brother's sake when you shared a dance.
I've shared a dance with others. Doesn't mean that he is loyal to me.
Yeah, but in all of the years that Arthur has been in the same house as you, has he ever shown you such a disgrace?
No, but he hasn't shown me affection either. Until now. Well, kind of. It's confusing. Like I said,
So you're
the
not-
ice cream was confusing.
Then what did you talk about? If you didn't settle your worries of the planned spill.
Fencing, I suppose.
You spoke of fencing.
Well, he spoke of fencing.
Men can be such fearful beings and use pride and play to their strengths instead of opening up their heart.
He did say that perhaps there could be something there between us. But like I think that he needs more time. The two of us just never really spoke before, or anything for that matter.
Well, and then what of the other suitors? Are they vying your attention more so? Or, much like one that you spoke of, pushing you away?
I don't know. I suppose I should have a more open heart. Mother spoke to me the other morning about some things of that sort. She talked of my father. She's not spoken about my father in years.
That is uncanny. Why would she? I assume she was merely trying to speak of her time with love to perhaps relate.
I believe so. At least that is the parallel that I have drawn. She said that she married for duty, and that she found love through that. I'm thinking that perhaps that is what she's hoping becomes of Mr. Beddington and I. But time will only tell.
It did not ever seem that your mother married simply out of duty. They did have quite a bond, your mother and father.
They did. She was different then, before the incident.
I mean, you would say she was happy.
Very much so.
And your father the same?
I believe so. And he was the one who wanted Mr. Beddington here, and part of me thinks that perhaps that means if my father saw something in him, that perhaps that something could be there for me too. And maybe that is the last blessing my father has graced upon me.
Have you learned anything more of Arthur or your other suitors? Maybe their family or beyond?
Well, I believe one wishes something from theirs, and when it comes to Mr. Beddington, I think that, well, he doesn't really know his family. But Lydia leans in really closely and says very quietly to her, I do believe my mother knows more about his family than she's telling. It is my mission. I shall figure it out. I only think it right that Mr. Beddington know. Perhaps he already knows. I'd have to speak to him more about what he does know of his family.
It would be quite interesting to wonder if the Countess knows more than Arthur does.
Wouldn't that be odd?
Perhaps there's something unsavory.
I did hear something. But again, you mustn't tell anyone else.
Who would I speak to, if not for you?
Lydia looks at her like,
Oh, my husband doesn't count.
Well, I heard that he might be leaving. That Mr. Beddington might be leaving.
Where would he go? All he has known is this place.
There's been word that he has an ex-betrothed.
And yet he is courting you.
I know, quite a scandal. It appears that it follows me everywhere I go.
Well, for your honor, my friend, if I cannot look into it and find out information, I'm sure my husband would.
Well, you know me. I'm going to look into it myself. Perhaps during this fencing match.
Addressing it head on.
Of course. What other
Always
way is there?
It's always the best way to at least read the person about whether they're lying.
I prefer it over whatever it is that my brother Victor and my mother go about it. I'd rather they just tell me what they want, instead of whatever it is that they do.
Oh, you know that the only way that they would speak of such matters, and most of us at our station would be when we're simply giving orders to staff.
Yes, my mother doesn't like how I do that either.
At the very least, just don't lose yourself.
I know, I'm sorry. I think I wrote to you and probably made it seem like I was going to end my life. But I assure you that is not the case. I just was very sad.
I merely thought you were going to truly become what I thought and worried so much about.
What is that?
Becoming a spinster.
And what would be so wrong with that? My mother hasn't remarried. I almost asked her about that too, but I feared for what she might say to me. And she was already oversharing. I didn't want to stop her.
You're far better than becoming a spinster.
What if I'm not? What if no one wants to love me?
Then at the very least, know I would love you.
Well, I think you're already taken.
Not in that way.
I know what you meant. But wouldn't it have been nice?
Amazing. And I think we'll leave them on that note. But I do want to cut forward to a little bit further forward in the Baroness's visit, because I think the Countess is going to come and talk to her.
Oh.
Sorry, Tyler, you just changed your hair.
Nope, I'm going back. I'm going back. It's really easy. It's a click of a
It's
button.
creepy because like one your eyes sometimes like flickers and it's like
Yeah.
it's really creepy.
The part that creeps me out the most is how much it's somewhat like the hair doesn't at all, but the facial features that it accentuates make me look like my mom.
Oh, that's kind of cool though. Makes sense that the female version of you looks like your mama.
Yeah.
So I think the Countess will find Catherine when she is by herself at some point. Lydia has gone to get changed or something of that nature, and like of course Catherine and the Countess know each other because Catherine and Lydia have known each other since they were children, and so she comes and says, "Oh, Lady Catherine, I saw you were visiting. What a delight!"
Yes, thank you for allowing me to stay.
Of course, anytime you are welcome, absolute anytime. And how is your husband and your children?
They're quite well. The youngest is teething and complaining up a storm day and night. But I had to be here for my friend. She seemed to have been struggling as of late.
Oh, indeed. That is so kind of you as a dear friend. Struggling, you say?
Just merely confused by her brother's intentions. I mean, his arrival, as you are well aware, was interestingly timed.
It was very sudden.
And then there's Arthur, who she grew up with, courting her, and, you know, matters of the heart.
I will offer a resolve token to Margaret for the Baroness to mention her other suitor as well, because she doesn't know that this is someone who Lydia should not be courting.
Yeah, I'm fine with that. She doesn't know the name of the person, so that's fine. That.
All right. Well, and there's another suitor that seemed to have insulted her.
Oh. That's not good to hear. Did she say which suitor would have done such a thing?
No, I'm sure there are many, but it just seems like something that may have cut deeper than she's letting on. She deflected rather quickly, of course.
I see. Well, of course, Lydia does have many suitors. I shall have to ask her which one did draw such an insult. Which one? And she looks like there's like a little flicker of her eyes as she is thinking about this very intently.
It seems as though she's more than capable of handling it herself. She is going to obviously face an incident of Arthur's and intentions surrounding a rumor during a fencing match.
Right. Well, far be it from me to get in the way of anything Lydia has planned, as I'm sure she has it well in hand.
She did mention that you shared about her father. And she seemed keen on wanting to know more.
Well, I suppose everyone is always curious about those who gave them life. I can only imagine your children growing up one day and wanting to know everything about your younger years.
Yes, I do think that, if I would so kindly say, that if you were to share more of that story with her, and what... It is a true love story, if you ask me.
Thank you kindly. Lady Catherine, you are such a good influence on Lydia. You are welcome here anytime. Anytime you would like to come.
Thank you so much. And she would kindly, what is that? Where you lift the dress, a curtsy.
Mm-hmm.
And say, I do need to at least get my room together. I know your staff is highly capable, but I might be a little particular about some things.
Of course. Please, don't let me keep you. And she will give a nod of her own, a bow of her own, and leave Lady Catherine in peace. Excellent. So that is going to be the end of our first novel chapter today. And we are going to go from there to household gossip.
Ooh, I already know what I'm going to do.
I am all ears. So we have a number of rumors spread up and down, but there is always room for more gossip.
I would like to spread upstairs. The Countess is hiding a secret about Arthur's family.
Oh, that rumor definitely has a basis now.
It was fading, but I feel like
we need it.
Lydia has started it.
I think it's also fitting that is spread downstairs because of the information that Grace gave to Ivy.
Ah, that makes sense. That makes sense. I think there is a rumor. This rumor is perhaps one that has been more in society than in the household. But lately there has been discussion of this in the household. That there is
I'm like, what is she plotting over there? Do you need help wording it?
I have an idea of what it might be, but I don't want to.
What are you thinking?
I was thinking it's within society that there's an error.
Is missing or something? Is that where you're going with it?
No, an error has been discovered within this town. Or something along those lines. I didn't know if that was what you were leaning towards.
What was the name of the estate? What is the name of that estate?
Crawford Park.
Yeah, Crawford Park.
Crawford Park.
There, the heir to Crawford Park has not returned or something.
Has recently been found.
Yeah, that's it. I like that. Yeah,
that's what Tyler was getting at. I do like that.
Was that what you were kind of heading towards?
Yes.
Okay.
I was just trying to figure out how to word it.
Okay. Are we doing 2 each?
Yes, 2 turns.
Okay. I think this makes sense to continue spreading. Arthur Beddington holds affection for Lady Lydia Ward. Actually, no. We will add a new rumor that there is another suitor trying to court Lady Lydia.
Ooh.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good rumor.
Yeah.
I'm immediately
Or
spreading
there's
that
there's
upstairs.
there's a mysterious, there we go. There's a mysterious suitor trying to court Lady Lydia.
Immediately
So you're
spreading
that
upstairs.
upstairs?
Yep.
Great. Lydia's like, I told one person one thing.
Yeah.
Ooh,
I do think it
actually,
makes sense
can I
to
change
spread
the rumor
Beddington one,
upstairs?
yeah. It was hard for
going to-
me.
Sorry, Tyler, what did you say?
I was tempted to spread that downstairs
Oh, downstairs instead.
because, yeah, I feel like downstairs would have overheard it in the conversation with the Countess.
That
in
is
the
also
hallway.
very fun to spread it downstairs.
Yeah, I think downstairs is more fun.
Mm-hmm.
I think downstairs.
Mm-hmm.
So it's so difficult because I had another rumor I wanted to come up with, but I'll hold off. I'll have to
Okay.
write it down and save it for next session.
Yeah, save it for later.
Well, if you have something good in mind, I haven't taken my turn yet. So, if you
She's
wanted
like,
to
I could
create
be
one, I
swayed.
could spread one. Yeah.
I was gonna add something to the Grace Clark holds affections for someone in the household,
Mm-hmm.
and add to it that it's Arthur.
That was my other rumor that I was thinking, is that there might be something between Grace and Arthur.
Yeah.
Because Milton saw that, and well, Milton thinks it. I don't think he's the one who's spreading it, but Chauncey saw it too. So
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I like that. So you can't add to previous rumors, but it becomes a new rumor that can then be spread as well.
I think the way Maggie explained it of Grace Clark, there's something between Grace and Arthur.
Okay.
Instead of
Yes,
it being
I like
necessarily holds affections, I think having something there, because then it's like a little more mysterious, but at the same time, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. It could be a matter of affection, or are they working together around courting Lydia, or is it something else? You know?
Yeah.
interesting. Working together to court Lydia. Interesting.
I like that. That's fun.
That actually is really interesting with all of the other stuff that they have seen
Yeah.
too.
It's an interesting rumor to be going around.
Yes.
But for now, it is fading, so it will be up to downstairs to see whether or not they would like to spread that one further. So we have one new rumor that's spread downstairs, that there is a mysterious suitor trying to court Lady Lydia. And of course, spread upstairs and downstairs now that the Countess is hiding a secret about Arthur's family, which we already know is true. But there is 2 result tokens attached to that now we can use to bring that into the story at any time. So
Ooh.
that is very delicious.
Very much so.
Very much. And with that, we may take our break a few minutes early, and we'll return with letters.
All right. We shall return with some more letters. Enjoy a quick break. Take a little walk, get yourself a drink, and we'll see you for the return of the Eaton Grange estate. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Eaton Grange estate.
Yes, and we are in epistolary, so we have some letters that we are going to send.
Mine is spicy, so I feel like mine should be last.
Okay, yours can be last.
It's very short, too. So.
Short and spicy.
Yeah, short and spicy. Come here, Bear.
Well,
come on.
I will begin because I have a letter from Lady Jane Porter, the Countess of
Ooh, we have not talked about her yet.
We have not. So she is writing to her sister, Lavinia, her older sister, Lavinia. My darling sister, you will be pleased to know that Colette and I are finally returning from the continent. We are back and intending to stay in England for quite some time. And as such, we must come to visit immediately. I do want to see everyone, darling. Victor and Lydia and Thomas and Sophie and Harmonia. And of course, Arthur. How is that young boy doing? He's not so young anymore. Time passes so swiftly. I cannot wait to catch up. I will bring a picnic. Don't you prepare a thing. I am bringing servants. I am bringing food. I will set it all up in your beautiful gardens. Don't you prepare a thing. I am coming tomorrow. Yours, Lady Jane Porter. And then it has her official seal on it.
Love it. Already setting the tone for her. Are you ready, Tyler, to share yours?
I am ready.
Okay.
This letter is from Arthur to Baroness Catherine Taylor.
Oh, interesting. Turn of events.
I hope this letter finds you well. Whilst we have met in passing as you've been the Lady Ward's most frequent visitor over the years, including today, I feel as I ought to introduce myself before continuing on with this letter. I am Arthur Beddington. I carry neither title nor really weight behind my name, that I know of at least. As such is true, I really have no standing to ask such a favor from you. With thus laid out, I do ask perhaps some aid in my courtship of the Lady Ward. Perhaps you could share with me her thoughts of me. Perhaps what she has told you, some knowledge she has of me and my family. What flowers may catch her eyes on walks, or what interest she has not been able to pursue due to other requirements from her family, her mother. I have great interest in and respect for the Lady Ward, and I hope that I may be able to provide her a happiness that stretches long into the future. A humble gentleman, Arthur Beddington.
Excellent. And one more short but spicy letter left.
All right. A unsigned, unmarked letter arrives for Grace. It is kind of hidden in a spot that she knows it would be. Maybe she's going there, perhaps out of curiosity, if there might be something there for her. When she opens the letter, a tiny ring falls to the floor. It is a simple gold band with a little heart and a tiny gem on it. And it says nothing. That is it.
Oh my gosh. I feel like Grace has been back and forth from that spot several times, just in case.
Monologue token.
It's a good monologue token.
You're right, it is. This is a good time. So that's what she's thinking. Yes, I had been back and forth from this spot many times, just in case, but I did not expect anything to be here. And then I think she picks it up and opens it very carefully, expecting a letter, and the ring falls out. And she just, like, for a moment, there's just like the touch of metal on skin. and she can't believe what she is seeing. And she is thinking, this is so beautiful. Yet there are no words that accompany it. I am left to wonder at the intention behind it. A ring is eternal, a circle that continues forever. Is that the intention? Or is it sort of a moment of uncertainty? Whatever it is a bond. It is a secret, and yet it is visible. Anyone who looked at it might see it, so it is a risk as well. And it is beautiful. It is so beautiful that I hardly dare to think that I am the one who possesses it. And now I have it. What do I do with it? I would not put it on my finger where anyone who looks might see it. Yet, I would not wrap it again in paper and hide it underneath a floorboard in the room next to the children. No, I can't do that. And I think she goes back to her room, and she takes a plain sort of silver chain that she has, sort of scrounges around in her case for it, and then she threads the ring through the chain, and under her the many layers of her corset, and then her undergarment, like under dress, and then her dress, she tucks it around her neck.
Nice.
And with that, oh my gosh, in the excitement of household gossip, I actually forgot reputation, so we do need to go back. Too much drama. We do need to go back.
We're down a person. Imagine what it'd be like if Victor was here. He's just full of it. Yeah.
So yes, once again, take a look at your family background sheet, and you be thinking about the events that have occurred so far today, but also the letters that were sent between the sessions.
All right. Peerage. I didn't really compromise.
I think Grace is going to get a positive and a negative tag, actually. She is going to get a positive tag for making a sacrifice or denying her desires to help others, because she helped Arthur even though Arthur is also courting Lydia.
Yeah, that makes sense.
But she's also going to get a negative tag for acting in desire in a way that compromised her duty and morality by literally stealing a letter from her employer, by getting Ivy to get that letter from Olivia and give it to Arthur.
Makes sense.
So I think for the negative tag, she is going to get meddling.
Ooh, I like that. That's a good one.
That'll
be a fun one to play too.
Yeah, it will be. And I think a positive tag is going to be loyal, because I think that's what is behind her actions. It's that devotion to her friend.
I think I didn't get either. I feel like I was pretty neutral today so far.
So far.
Well, yeah. I don't know if that letter is considered spicy.
Technically, that one would fall into the next reputation since I did it in the wrong order, but
Yeah, that's true. It would go in the next one. The next
but yeah,
half.
that one, that letter.
That would give me a negative,
we'll
probably.
see.
I have both like a positive and negative, but on the same lines. And it's so weird because they contradict each other. Because I feel like Arthur acted in obedience to society's conventions by avoiding this for so long, but then at the same time he acted in his desires in reading that letter.
Well, I feel like what Arthur did in the past would have contributed to Arthur's positive reputation tags in the past, of which he got many.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, it is only what he did in this chapter that
which would be a negative
right now. So I believe that would be a negative.
Oh, I'm trying to think of what fits though.
What was the thing that you did?
I went against the Countess's.
Oh yeah, you're supposed to just give her the letter, not take it. Selfish could make sense there, or because that's kind of like what you were doing.
Yeah,
You're
but it didn't feel
more for
selfish. It did, but it didn't.
Yeah.
Maybe it could be nosy or something about wanting to.
Curious?
Along those lines.
No, that's not really.
Curious
It's not
is
really
not
negative
enough.
necessarily. Self-indulgent. That's kind of inquisitive, but that's more. Doesn't really sound.
Could also be something about like not being able to restrain yourself.
Interfering. I don't know.
An inability to restrain yourself.
Yeah, like.
Yeah, oh yeah, like your willpower was low.
Yeah, like weak, like
lacking willpower.
Yeah, weak. I like that. I like weak. Weak is good.
Or
I like that.
Yeah. Discipline, willpower, that kind of thing. I think that works.
Ooh.
Like lacking discipline.
Undisciplined.
Undisciplined, yeah. Something, I don't know. It's something around that. But I get where you're going with it. Because it's like you didn't do what you were told to do necessarily. But not.
I mean, it would be.
Because it was written to you.
Yeah, so it's kind of a weird thing.
I mean,
And I'm trying to think of how it would affect him more than I'm thinking about necessarily the action. Because I feel like he now has anger.
But I feel it does have to be assessed by the action. Like I feel like weak fits in the sense that he could
gives in to his desires
himself. Yeah, he gives into his desire.
Yeah.
Okay, from there we really will go on to our next novel chapter. So this fencing match that has been much talked about should be where this novel chapter starts.
Oh boy.
And I feel like since that Pearl is the one has found out about this match. Did Arthur tell her, or is this something that sort of trickled down?
Found out about the fencing match. He wouldn't have said specifically what it was. It would have trickled down, but he would have inquired into Pearl of being like, I need to be able to have the equipment, and perhaps you could be on site to referee, so to speak.
Okay, yes. I feel like it seems like Pearl had also heard about this in a different way.
Yeah.
I mean, people talk around the household. You know, could have been anyone that told her.
Oh no, totally.
And she is preparing Arthur. Lady Lydia has never fenced before, to my knowledge. So You will need to control your movements more than usual.
I'm well aware of what I need to do. I'm not going to harm somebody who I'm courting, if that is your concern, Pearl.
Well, I know you wouldn't do it deliberately. I'm just reminding you. I mean, there's so much padding, I doubt either of you could harm the other. It's just, she doesn't seem to be the sort of person who would take too well to an unexpected fall or...
Speaking of, do you really think I need this much padding?
Well, you know how the Countess is where Lady Lydia is concerned. I would rather everybody be at their safest. Fencing? I mean, you wanted to teach her fencing. That's nice, but it's what was your intention behind that? It's not exactly a walk in the garden.
Lydia had spoken of not being able to join in the fun that me and Victor had. And I thought it would be opportune to allow her an opportune moment to indulge in such an activity that she otherwise would not be allowed. And besides, if I've done it for years and done fine, perhaps it's something that I may be able to show her of my ability.
All right. Remember, footwork. You want to look impressive.
Trust me, I am as focused as I have ever been.
And is that the moment that Lydia appears?
My lady.
Mr. Beddington? Miss Scarborough?
Lady Lydia, there is a lot of padding. Perhaps I might assist? What is Lydia wearing for this?
I imagine she's wearing what she thinks she should be wearing, but like someone else has dressed her. She doesn't do her own. She's incapable of dressing herself. It's sad. And her hair is kind of up and out of the way. But she says, I probably won't need it as much as he will. She's just making like jokes.
Yes. Yes. Pearl laughs very dutifully. Certainly, I'm sure you will both need it a great deal. As fencing is not an art to be taken lightly, as she's like helping Lydia get all the slightly excessive padding on.
I assure you we will not think of it that way. Isn't that right, Mr. Beddington? It's very serious.
Indeed. These are sharp, after all.
I am sure, but just in case, I will be here to supervise.
I told her we would be fine without her, but she insists.
And then I think, like, she kind of cocks her head to the side for a minute and looks thoughtful, and she's like, but of course, perhaps the best spot to supervise from would be, and like she points to like a little overhanging like balcony that you can kind of climb up to from the courtyard.
Oh yes.
Yeah, I would get a much better view.
I'm certain that the view will be very nice from there.
And I can call out if I have any concerns or tips.
We will be all ears.
Excellent. And she kind of like gives Arthur like a bit of a smile.
Good luck, buddy.
And departs up the stairs. There's a sense that she's been told she should supervise you, and this is her way of giving what she can in this moment.
So, where do we start?
Well, to start, you're holding it wrong. And he'll walk over and basically show his hand, but dare not touch yours. How he's holding his...
She tries
rapier.
to copy you, but it's not right.
If you would allow me.
She nods.
And he'll adjust your grip gingerly. This will allow your hand not to feel so sore, and at the same time make sure when your arm is straight, your rapier remains straight.
Like this. She tries to copy what you were showing her.
Exactly. Now, before every bout, it is very important that you acknowledge and show respect, so that you both are in agreement that we are set to begin. It avoids any problems should somebody strike when one is not paying attention.
And what if one does?
Well, sometimes it can result in injury. Sometimes some people are quick-witted and can react.
Perhaps that is in other sports too.
Indeed. I do fear that... Well, let's be careful.
I always am. Or I try to be, at least.
All right. Do you feel ready?
As ready as I shall be, I suppose.
Arthur will do his bow
Lydia copies it.
and raise his rapier.
Oh, that's something I know very well to do.
On guard, then?
She does the same.
And he'll lunge carefully, basically doing it slowly to allow you to hit the rapier away.
Yeah, you're able to hit her easy. She doesn't she's awful. She does not move. She just gets hit.
You are able to use the sword to deflect it to the side, lady.
Oh. Okay.
The intention is to not get hit.
Right. And she tries to move yours away from hers. Like that.
Yes. Again. And he'll do the lunge again and see if you hit it away.
She tries, but you still hit her. She's very slow. And I think her it falls out of her hand at the same time.
If it falls out of her hand, he'll take his, stab it in the ground. I would like to use my positive attribute of sweet.
Oh.
And he'll walk over and pick up the sword and gingerly place it back in her hand properly.
Lydia smiles and takes it back in her hand. I'm sorry.
You have no reason to apologize. You should have seen me in my first bout.
Oh?
And he looks over at Pearl. Dare you not say it?
And what happened in your first bout?
I wasn't not only hit, but I tripped and fell at the same time.
Well, let's hope that doesn't happen with me.
I would never put you in such a circumstance where it could.
And she goes back to her spot. No one could.
Your turn to attack.
All right. And she goes for it, but I think she's super slow. You're able to block it, no problem.
He'll actually only partially block it, so you kind of glance his shoulder.
Ah, see, I'm not so bad after all.
With time, perhaps you could find some joy in this, it seems.
Perhaps. So do you normally converse during these, or must we be quiet?
You can. Is there something that you would like to talk about?
There is something on my mind.
I'm going to use my positive open. I'm burning through my positives for this.
Apparently.
Well, you don't have to use a tag for to act in an open manner.
Okay.
I feel like your sweet tag was important because it kind of let Arthur like have the finesse to control the fencing and like, you know, to have like.
And I think it makes Lydia feel like you are being affectionate towards her.
Yeah.
And she's taking that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Then I won't use the open tag.
And she says, well, if it is not too untowardly of me, I was curious about a conversation that we had when we were dancing about your family.
He would, at the mention of his family, his facial expression would change and he kind of like shudders and looks away.
I'm sorry. We don't have to speak of it if you don't want to.
No, we absolutely can. What do you know of my family? And his tone kind of shifts. It's almost slightly accusatory.
Okay, so less gentle. That gentle tag's going away. I think she just kind of looks curiously at you and, you know, lunges forward and says, well, not very much at all. That is why I was curious. What do you know of your family? Other than how you came to be at the estate?
Well, only what I remember in my dreams. He's softer now after hearing you say you know nothing.
I understand
he has a semblance
this.
of believing it.
That's how I feel about my father sometimes. That I try to hold on to what I know and what I remember of him. Like how he smelled and the way he spoke and his jokes.
Your father. I briefly remember him as well. Seemed like a kind man.
He was. And I heard that he had a lot to say, and you're staying here as well.
I would imagine so, given it was both him and your mother's decision that I was able to stay here. They're the ones who brought me in.
But family tells us a lot about who we are.
I would hope that family is not the only thing that describes a person.
No, I think that action also does so. As we spoke about the previous night.
Yes. You do know it's difficult for me to step in between you and your brother. He is my friend, and at the same time, I of course will protect the standing that you hold, but I don't feel it is my place. He is a lord, and I am merely a mister.
Well, I don't ask you to battle him. If that is what you are
I would
insinuating.
happily fence him. There's no chance he could best me.
Well, perhaps we have a game.
But what I remember of my family is merely a dream of a fire and of rain, a silhouette. It's distorted and distant, but I know they have passed.
Do you know your family's names?
He softly, very softly, like under his breath, like says Eleanor. It's almost like he couldn't keep it in, but he was trying to. I don't know my family's names. No.
Is that your mother's name?
He gulps. I don't know.
Interesting. You remember name, but you're not certain what the name holds.
I feel as if everything is a mystery to me.
Well,
I feel as
perhaps
if-
not everything, as you hit her again.
No, but of where I come and where I stand now, it would seem as if I'm supposed to feel as if this is my home and this is my family, but it has never been exactly so.
I assure you, my mother sees it so. And if my father were here, he would as well.
And of you, I care not what they think.
Well, of me, perhaps it is an even further blessing that my father has had you here. She smiles.
He would obviously blush a little bit.
I would like to play my unskilled tag here, which is a negative tag for me. But I think that Lydia trips similarly to how Arthur did during his first session, and Arthur catches her.
Yeah, with my dutiful tag.
Arthur catches her, but Grace sees this moment.
Ooh.
I will use my dutiful tag to catch her before she even
catching.
touches the ground.
I think Grace is almost imperceptible in this moment. She is like a figure at a window of the children's room, but the curtains are open.
Sorry. I suppose I tripped after all.
And much like I had said, I would not allow you to befall what I befell before.
A gentleman after all. Well,
It's just a moment
you
staring into each other's eyes.
yeah, and then I think after a moment she's like, well, she probably put me down before Pearl has something else to say about this.
Or perhaps just help you up.
He smiles.
Is there anything else you want to see from that scene?
I'm good. Did you have other things you wanted to ask?
No, I think that was very fitting.
Excellent. So later on in the afternoon, Arthur and Milton.
Ooh.
Is this a case of Arthur approaching Milton again, or is
I would imagine Arthur is putting stuff away.
Mhm.
Oh, and Milton's like, sir, Mr. Beddington.
Yeah.
Let me do that for you. And he kind of takes it from you. And
It's no trouble. I will happily assist.
you don't have to do that. You know, that's what they pay me here for. Room and board and all.
Indeed, but it is my request that created such a need to put stuff away.
Oh? What did you request?
Well, all of this equipment, of course.
It's a lot of equipment.
Yes, it was quite a day, and he has a smile on his face.
You seem happier than the last time we spoke.
I think I'm beginning to learn. At least, how to follow my heart.
Back to the conversation the other night, I suppose.
If that is what you wish, I have no words to lend at the moment.
It was more of your confusion in regards to what love is. Duty,
Indeed.
heart. It appears perhaps you have forsaken duty and gone for the heart then.
Or a matter of both.
He kind of looks confused because he has a different understanding of the situation. Well, I sent those letters and I burned the other one.
Oh, you have many my thanks.
Be careful though, if I may speak so plainly. Lady Lavinia is not one to like when you fraternize with us.
She has more pressing matters to worry about.
Oh.
His facial expression kind of changes, but I may be speaking too prematurely on that.
Well, I'm always here to listen. If you have things to share.
For once, I think I ought to keep some of this to myself. Do tell Ivy thank you for the letter, though.
Ah, I will. Milton just smiles. I delivered the other letter, too.
Indeed.
As I'm sure you're aware by the smile on your face.
He kind of looks confused.
The one, he looks around and then says quietly, the one to Grace, to Miss Clark.
Oh. Yes, that was... I think we're finally meeting eye to eye again.
Is that not the reason you are so happy today?
I'm sure it has an effect.
Well.
Are you... Is there something you wish to ask me?
Oh, no. I'm just here to listen. And do as you wish, sir.
I would like to offer a resolve token to Arthur for the Countess to turn the corner at this moment.
I'll gladly accept it.
So she looks at the situation and is immediately like, Arthur, let Milton do that.
Please, sir. Please, Mr. Beddington. I'll take that from you. And he looks at you like, please, give me the package.
Arthur will actually hold it for a second and look at the Countess and then let Milton have it. Almost as in a slight moment of rebellion, but he still allows it.
Milton's like, and then takes it and is like, what the heck? And he's just quickly trying to get his job done.
May we talk?
I think we should, but I don't think now is the time.
I think now is the time. This is not perhaps the place.
Would you like me to leave?
No, you
Lady...
put the things away.
Very well.
We will go to my study.
And he continues going back to his thing.
Have a good day, Milton.
Does Arthur go along with the Countess?
Yes,
Well,
after
then-
saying have a good day, Milton.
Milton just nods and doesn't say anything back. He's like, I don't want to get in trouble.
By the way, that's me using my weak in that moment.
Yeah, I like that. You cannot resist just riling her up a little bit, and also, that's very good. Yeah, because she's gotten a sense of Arthur's mood rather quickly, and that is why she has chosen the study as the place where this conversation would take place. Whereas normally she would pick somewhere nice, like a drawing room. Her study, as we know from the conversation with Victor, is sort of very stern, austere, bookshelves with books of estate management that haven't been, most of which haven't been touched in quite some time, very little light, and of course a chair on one side of the table that's larger than the chair on the other side. I'll sit
I'll-
down.
Out of respect, I will obviously allow you to speak first, but I would hope that there are no listening ears.
This is my study.
This is your
Fair enough.
estate.
There are no listening ears here.
Perfect.
You have something you wish to say to me. I can tell.
Oh, it can wait. I'd rather give you the opportunity to speak first.
I don't think so.
So you'll continue denying what you know.
I see. This is about your family. And what is it that you imagine I know that you are denying? Sorry, that I am denying.
I have a home other than here. And you've been hiding this from me for months.
A home.
My inheritance.
And where did you hear about your inheritance?
A letter found its way to my bedroom. A letter from an Olivia Bed.
And this letter that you read from Olivia Bed, despite the fact of my telling you that this is a relative of yours who means to bring scandal upon you, you took it word for word as the truth?
How was I going to take it? As a lie?
As the grasping hands of someone who'd do anything to claw at your position in this household because you have been elevated so far above the others in your family.
My position in this household is merely a mister.
She curls her lip. Do you truly not understand what I have done for you in taking you in?
That is why I hope there were no listening ears and no matters in which I would negatively impact your name. But to hide this from me. Why? After all you've done for me, and your late husband and your family, would you keep such a thing of mine from me?
Arthur, you do not understand.
The cruelty?
You are angry, and that is to be expected. But have you no trust in me?
I've trusted you with everything.
Let me tell you what happened. Until some months ago, I had no idea of who your father was. I knew of your mother, yes.
My
She did
father.
not come from a good name. And because she did not come from a good name, I did not want you to associate with her relatives who remained. I did not know where they were or who they were.
Was it for my own choice, or was it just so that it didn't befall harm to you?
Arthur, this decision was made years ago when we took you in. Why do you think your last name is Beddington? Your mother did not. We wanted to give you a fresh start so that those who would wish to make claims upon you as a result of your elevated position could not. This may be hard for you to hear, but your father was not your mother's first husband.
Why should that even matter?
Because you need to understand who she was. She was married before to a gentleman who was not of good repute or good name, who was no better. In fact, quite a bit worse off than most of the servants in our household. And the things people said about her in society when she chose to marry your father, from what I understand, were not good things.
I don't care. That's my family. And the first I'm hearing of them, instead of comfort me, you lecture me of a scandal.
That is what I have been trying to tell you all this time. They do not mean you well.
And what do you mean of me? Am I just a pawn for you to be able to inherit what is my family's? What is mine? Am I not allowed to choose for myself and decide whether this scandal is worth my life? And if anything, would you at least understand the decency that I would have to protect you and your daughter and your son from such a thing? I have done nothing but abide by your rules and be what you wanted me to be and protect your family's name. And I've done nothing but listen to the Lord Victor as we grew up, knowing he was my superior, and avoided your daughter until it was so allowable that I was allowed to. Do you even pay attention to what is happening and how people feel, or is it just simply what is right for your name and what is right for your view, that you hold yourself to such esteem above society, above others, that I have given everything to live up to and to protect? And the one chance I get to finally learn from which I came, you robbed me from that opportunity. You robbed me from the chance out of fear that it would hurt you, that I would even allow that to happen.
Now you are speaking like a child who does not understand the ways of the world, and that some things once done cannot be undone.
And you're speaking like somebody who has been bested at their own game.
Oh, is that so? Then leave. Go out there to your home that you have. Arthur, go out there to this place that you call your own. That means you do not need me or my family any longer. If you wish, you can unproblematically step forth from these walls without help nor assistance and claim it as your own and have no scandal or ill repute come upon you and live in happiness, then I bid you do so, sir.
I would not do so in a way that would harm you. In a moment of which I finally find something new and something of understanding of the heart in your daughter. That you would honor me so to allow me to court, but I question your motivation behind which, whether I would have been worthy if not for this estate. I ask one thing. Did she know? Did Victor know?
I have no reason to discuss this with you further. Leave and claim your inheritance or stay. It is your choice.
I sit here and thought I loved you as much as I would my own mother. And
Arthur.
you don't even give me the friendship and kindness to answer a simple request.
No. Only I knew.
Thank God.
And the fact you cannot see. There is a reason why I kept these things from you.
I see your reason, but is it twisted by will and thought of what I would want? Or is it twisted by your own name and duty?
You
What?
are still in my house and under my roof.
I am.
Take care you remember that.
I'll never forget it.
And do not
Ever.
sit there and accuse me. You sound like Victor. Do you remember what befell him in the eyes of society, don't you? This conversation is over. Do as you wish. I will not extend to you the care I intended to for.
Oh no, she froze on us.
Yeah.
When you step out of this household that has coddled you into the wider world.
You
What
meant-
point did I phrase?
You froze at 4.
Yeah.
4 is not a lot of context. I will
was
not
like
extend to you the care for.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes, I will not extend to you the care that I intended to for when you left this household that has coddled you so and stepped out into the wider world. For it is clear you do not wish it.
What I wish is not what matters. But I wonder if your heart can be rewarmed again.
Kindly leave my study now.
As you wish, Countess.
Close the door when you leave.
I would like to offer a resolve token for Lydia to see Arthur. Tears pouring down his face as he leaves the Countess's study. And just walks to his room.
Aren't resolve tokens normally like negative for you? Or can that be
No, not resolve tokens.
Okay.
No, that's
negative tags. Okay.
reputation tags. Yes.
I mean,
This is just a matter of whether this is compelling Lydia to do something, to be in the scene. So it's just a matter of whether you accept that.
Mhm.
yeah, I think she would. I think that'd be okay. But I feel like if she saw him, then she would want to see what was wrong.
But in which direction?
Oh, you mean like does she talk to her mom or does
Her
she go to?
mom? Yeah.
I think she would choose to talk to Arthur. Her mother never tells her the truth. At least not straight. It's always some kind of like cryptic thing. Yeah, I think that she'll follow, but she doesn't she's not going to try to like interrupt him. Where does he run to?
Simply his bedroom
Oh, okay.
and shutting the door.
I think before you get to your room, because you're upstairs. Oh, you're upstairs.
Yeah.
Is the study downstairs?
Yes, it's up a flight of stairs. Arthur's bedroom's up a flight of stairs from the study.
Yeah, I think before you, like as you're like going up the stairs towards there, Lady Lydia will kind of like shout out to you and be like, "Mr. Beddington,
Lydia?
are you all right?"
No. It seems as This is no longer the place for me.
What happened?
Your mother is as cruel as she means kind.
What do you mean? What has she done now?
She hid my family from me. And I have a home outside of here. That would be mine.
Does that mean you are to leave?
I don't know. But I'd at least like to see it.
Then you should.
But I fear I will not be welcome back if I go.
I will make certain you are welcome. Anytime.
You would risk that for me.
Yes.
Even if it would bring harm to your family's name.
You've been with us a good portion of your childhood. It will never tarnish our name for you to come here and for us to show you kindness. And if my father welcomed you, well, there's no reason that we should not.
Would you like to see it?
Your home?
Yes.
I would, but how?
Come with me.
When?
Tomorrow.
How long?
I have to figure out the arrangements and how long it would take to travel, but simply for a small trip. I would not keep you long. And I would happily invite an escort, as I would not dishonor you in any way.
I have an idea. I'll talk to you tomorrow then.
Thank you.
Or perhaps I may see you later. For more ice cream?
I would be honored.
She, nods and kind of scurries away.
Arthur would pause at the bottom of the stairs after she left, before heading up and packing things.
Question. Is Catherine still here? She's still here, right? I think Lydia immediately rushes to the room that Catherine's staying in and just barges in.
Oh, I gotta completely
I
get out
know.
of my teary
I
mode.
know. We can do another scene in between that if you need.
Yeah, if you can give me pause, that'd be great.
Yeah, I don't know what Haley has in between. I understand. I've been in the... I was super emotional last episode. That was me.
Yeah, I feel like just as a short transition scene while Tyler regains his Baroness ways. It's just, I think it's just Grace passing Lydia in the hallway.
Ooh. Okay.
I think I think that she's always accompanied by a parade of children. Always, always, always. And so I feel like they're off to their riding lessons. And so they've all been dressed in their, riding clothing to go out. And this is while she's heading down the corridor to the Baroness's room. And the kids sort of like wave at Lydia and like disappear down the stairs. And Grace just like looks at Lydia and looks around, and then I think she taps her heart.
Lydia looks confusedly at her. But at first, like, waves to her siblings, smiles, and then her, like, face completely changes once they're out of sight, and she looks, like, upset. Are you trying to pressure me now?
I think Grace doesn't say anything at first. As she looks around to check if anyone else is in sight, I think she knows she only has a moment in this corridor. And then she says, as she's sort of passing by quite quietly, "Write me when you are ready. Do not let this I await your words. I need words."
I do not have words for you. And I sent you something already.
I have to go. She goes down the stairs.
Lydia watches her walk away and then kind of looks back up towards the stairs where Mr. Bennington went, and then back down the stairs towards where Miss Clark went, and then quickly turns and runs back to what she was going to do before. And she's confused now. And now I'm laughing. You should have just done that. That would have changed your transition. I think she's like busts into the room and is like, "Catherine."
Lydia, that's quite an entrance.
Is anyone else in the room?
I would imagine not.
Okay. She's like,
I would imagine she was writing to her husband.
Closes the door and like rushes over to her, kind of like sitting at your side and like grabbing your hand, and she's like, "I have a favor to ask of you."
Anything at all. What can I do? What's happening? What's going on?
Would you escort Mr. Beddington and I on an outing?
She just kind of like gasps and puts her hand over her mouth.
I know you were only supposed to be here for a day, but perhaps your husband wouldn't mind.
I would happily do so, but what is the occasion? Did you defeat him in fencing?
Can we say that is what happened?
I mean, I can speak of it that way.
Yes, I won a bet, and now he has to take me out to get a new dress.
Lovely. What is it really?
She kind of like looks around and then quietly like leans in. Mr. Beddington found out where his home was, or is, or I don't know. We didn't get to talk about it very long. It was in the hallway.
He found out about his family.
I think so. He seemed very upset. I think my mother is meant to send him away.
Not like Victor.
Perhaps. I don't know. I know if I ask her, she's not going to tell me the truth. Or what she does tell me is confusing.
Don't you think you should find out more, though?
More from my mother? Aren't we to find out more when we find out where his family lives?
You are completely right.
I
It
wouldn't
is
think
peculiar.
he would
There
put
would
me
be
in
more.
danger. Although he's asking
Oh.
me to go out. Although he did say I could bring an escort. So that's why I asked you. But you mustn't tell my mother the truth.
Of course. For a dress again?
Lydia smiled. Yes.
Great.
But you will have to tell her that, because I can't tell her. I can't lie to her. She sees right through me.
But wouldn't she know if Arthur was leaving in the same carriage?
Maybe the two of us can go in a different carriage then.
That would require another escort. Perhaps Arthur has somebody in mind.
Or I don't know anymore. I'm bad at this. I never go anywhere. I never lie. Perhaps I need to be more deceiving than I have been in the past. You must teach me the ways.
Me deceiving? I would never.
I'm certain you have.
We may have snuck away at one point in time, but that's neither here nor there.
I would offer a resolve token for this 2-carriage plan to be the approach they choose, and Arthur can pick whoever person Arthur wants to be in the other carriage.
Grace.
I had a
Oh,
feeling that
no.
might be where you're going with that, Tyler. So that definitely would go to Lydia, that resolve token.
Yeah, just keep adding them. I keep trying to get rid of them, and I just keep getting them. So I have like 6 now again. I keep giving them to people and taking them back. Yeah, I love it. So then that would be the Baroness Taylor and Lydia in one, and then Grace and Arthur in the other. Okay.
Oh, speaking of which, Lydia,
Yes.
Arthur did write to me.
He wrote to you. Of what?
About you.
He wrote about me? What did he say?
He inquired what insight I could give, and that he promised you a life of happiness, at best that he could provide.
How can one promise a life of happiness?
One can promise the act of doing you the honor and helping you in whatever way you saw fit towards your happiness. Not necessarily to give it to you on a silver platter, but to aid you in finding out what it is that does make you happy.
No, I did ask one of the people downstairs after what you had said to me. And I don't know if I'd want to live that way. One of them said that they only see their family once a month. I don't think I could bear that.
I can only imagine the difficulty, which is why I think it's fair that we treat them as much kindness as we can and include them as really a part of our family, where obviously is within our duty and does not bring scandal to our name.
If Mother had it her way, I would never speak to them. How are we to pretend someone is family if we can't even talk to them?
Well, it does honor them for them to be able to work at such an estate. and to even have the chance at a recommendation thereafter.
I suppose so. But I do tell you that when she's not looking, I do speak to them.
Seems you are better at deceiving than you let on.
Perhaps. Have you met my mother, though?
I feel like we can leave them there.
Yeah.
So do we want to go on this trip to Crawford Park Estate?
I guess that's what's happening now.
I feel like that's what's happening now. I feel like we're going to Crawford Park.
We had other plans, but now stuff has changed. I'm okay with that, though.
Things come up. Yeah, I'm okay with that too. I feel like the Baroness and Lydia would take the carriage. This would have to be a Sunday, given that Grace is also attending. So we'll just assume that the next day was a Sunday. And I feel like Arthur and Grace can't just like take a carriage, because that would be inappropriate and the entirety of the staff would notice. So I feel like they have to go like to town and catch a carriage cab. Like
Or isn't she the Reverend?
Grace's mother
Grace's mother, yeah.
does not have a carriage.
Ah, but she
She's
knows
not
people
a
who
woman
do.
of means. She is
No.
quite the opposite. Her cottage is very run down. But she would like book the carriage cab for Arthur and Grace.
Perfect.
Yeah.
I did
I
want to
think-
have a conversation with Grace before we embarked, though.
Okay. So maybe this is when they're walking from the estate into the town.
Yeah. Grace, you know I couldn't go to this, or I would have not known of this place if not for you.
So you're saying I did the right thing then?
I'm saying I forgive you.
I'll take that. My mother will be pleased to see you. It's been quite a while.
I'm excited at being able to see your mother again as well. I mean, it is her doing that we became such good friends.
It is.
I do hope I'm not potentially getting you in trouble.
I seem to get myself in trouble well and truly adequately enough on my own accord.
Well, it does lift my heart to be able to consider you a friend again and not have the turmoil that was stewing of such a betrayal. It seems I was misguided after all.
I'm glad you think so. We'd best hurry our pace.
Indeed. We don't want to keep...
Can I play a resolve token for Chauncey to see the two of you leaving together? Come on, gotta give Chauncey some juiciness to write about.
Oh, yeah.
I'll add it to the long list of things that Chauncey overheard.
You're welcome, Chauncey. You're welcome.
And I would imagine Arthur wouldn't care at this point. He's very distracted.
Would that go to
Anxious.
Arthur or Grace? I feel like Arthur, right?
Arthur.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, so I feel like Olivia, did you write to Olivia telling her you were coming?
That night, he would have written a
Mhm.
letter to Olivia.
Yeah, because she obviously doesn't live at Crawford Park.
Yeah.
And so she has also made her way there to meet with Arthur and, you know, the whole gang.
I imagine the Baroness and Lydia get there first.
That's probably true. I think they've arranged to meet not at the estate front driveway itself, but some way out out of the estate in the Crawford Park. So Eaton Grange is big. Crawford Park is huge. It is like we're talking Pemberley from Pride and Prejudice here.
Oh my gosh.
It is a unbelievably large estate with many different wings. Even in ordinary like daily life when it is occupied, like there are still some wings in there that are for public visitation in certain parts of the year, and they're like historical wings, and the family don't really use those sections of it. And then there's like really big section for guests, and then there's like a main section, and there's like their like state like drawing room is like painting. Like the entirety of the state drawing room at Crawford Park is like a painter has come in, and from one side of the room to the other, it is entirely like Renaissance style art. So like it's really very, very big. And the point in which Olivia has chosen to meet is sort of in the where like one of the gateways opens up to the like main driveway. It's not actually next to the estate itself, it's next to the gateway, which itself is quite grand. It's built from stone, and the crest of the Duke is sort of emblazoned at the top of the gateway.
I think as we arrive, Lydia and like Catherine are like looking outside and then looking at each other. Are we in the right place?
Is this? No. That's unheard of.
It is the address he gave me.
That's a crest of a duke.
You think he's the son of a duke?
If this is accurate.
Olivia will like wave down the carriage. She doesn't know who's in it. She can't see from the outside, so she's like, Mr. Beddington?
There's a lady waving at us. This is like that novel that I was reading the other day with my mother. And she opens the door and she waves out.
And Olivia is like, she herself is obviously a relative of Arthur's mother. And she is by profession a farmer. So her clothes are, very practical farming wear. She has a hat. She's dressed in very practical pants, and she herself came by way of like a buggy, like an open cart with a horse in it that she just drove herself, and she's parked along the side there. And it's not the class of person that Lydia would be used to ordinarily talking to, but she says, hello, is Mr. Beddington among you? Are you relatives of or friends?
No. Well, friends, that is what we are. They should be arriving in a different carriage.
You are more than friends.
We are friends. We are friends. That's what I keep saying.
I see. And then she's very casual in her demeanor, like completely different to the normal people that Lydia would be used to dealing with. Well, there we go then. That would explain why he took you here the first time to see this place. My name is Olivia Bed, and she reaches out her hand to like shake Lydia's hand.
As in Beddington.
Bed is my last name.
Right. I'm Lydia Ward.
Lady Lydia Ward. Well, I am certainly very pleased to meet you.
And with me, my friend, Baroness Catherine Taylor.
Well, I'm certainly very pleased to meet you too. And then she just like bows because she's not really sure what to do when you meet someone who is a peer. She hasn't met many of them in her lifetime, despite her association with Arthur's family.
Lydia kind of grins at Catherine when she sees this girl like having a struggle bus.
Is Mr. Beddington almost arrived?
I would imagine he found a carriage and is on his way, yes. We are to meet him here.
This is the address he gave me. She pulls out a paper with his penmanship.
And I feel like that's the moment where in the distance there's like a public carriage stop. And like the carriage that like Grace and Arthur and pulls up at the public carriage stuff. And in the distance, Lydia and Catherine can see two figures that they would instantly recognize embark from the carriage.
Ah, there he is. You said your last name was Bed?
Yes, that's one side of the family.
Any relationship to Ashbed?
Ashbed. I've got a lot of cousins. Could be among them.
She just looks quizzically and like waves at Mr. Beddington and doesn't really look at Grace.
I imagine Arthur is looking about, completely awestruck at the size of this place, and also like approaching as quickly as he can, so he's out of breath when he arrives.
Olivia like takes her hat off and waves it at him.
Are you Olivia?
Yes, you must be Arthur, Mr. Beddington, Arthur Beddington. And she again reaches out her hand to shake it.
He ignores the hand and immediately hugs her.
She gives him like a good firm hug back. This is fine by her. Well, it's something to finally meet you. It's something to finally meet you.
It's something to finally realize that I have family.
I do remember Eleanor talking about you, and you couldn't have been more than a few years old. Of course, I am so sorry for what happened.
That was my mother's name.
You knew Eleanor?
Yes. She was my... Let's see, if you were a second... She was... If you was like your second cousin, it's like, she was my mother's sister. Mother's cousin. My mother's cousin.
And you were close?
To Eleanor? Well...
That is what I'm asking.
I saw her on family occasions.
Oh.
I might have even seen you once, Arthur, when you were but a few months old.
Apologies. This is my good friend Grace, who I believe you have already made acquaintance
Miss Clark.
with.
And I think Olivia puts her hand out and Grace does take it and shake it. She's sort of being quiet in this moment. Yes, her letter started this all, of course. I wonder why it did take you such a long time to reply to me.
It would seem that someone had other intentions.
Well, this is it. This is Crawford Park. Quite something, isn't it?
Quite something indeed.
This is this larger than your estate, Lydia?
By far, Mr. Beddington.
Crawford Park is one of the largest estates in the country. I happen to know a lot of facts about it. Like, she rattles off some facts like number of acres, number of parks, number of like hunts done on the grounds annually, number of farms.
Are you nearby? Is your farm one of the lands?
Myself? Not.
Yes.
I have my own farm. It's not on the lands, but it's not far. It took me 3 hours by buggy. She sort of slaps her horse.
Well, if this is truly mine, you are welcome to have some of it.
She just laughs. Oh. Arthur. Would you like to go? Well, here's the thing. You didn't give me a lot of notice. We're not allowed to go into the estate. Your birthright would need to be proven before your claim on it could be finalized.
That's fair. Is Bed my last name? My given name?
Yes. At least I seem to recall. It would make sense. I do think all of Eleanor's children took her last name.
Do you know why that is?
Well, I imagine that must be on account of your father. I didn't know much about him.
Do you have his name?
I don't.
Arthur looks disappointed.
But I'm sure the lawyers will have it.
And what must he do to prove his namesake then?
I don't know how all of that stuff works. And then she pulls out a business card. Here. These are the estate lawyers.
Thank you.
They were going to declare this dukedom extinct. There's been a buzz about it in London. I can't believe you missed all of this.
I heard no such thing. I was merely a child when they passed. I vaguely remember water and fire. And I think I can see my father's face. But I don't know exactly what happened. Was it a fire? The estate looks fine.
It was a fire. I'm sorry, Arthur. It was a fire at sea.
So the water wasn't a storm or rain, it was the sea? I dreamed of this many times.
Yes. Everyone in that ship was lost. Well, not everyone.
Obviously, I'm here.
Only a handful of people.
Well,
This is very sad. Are you sure you would like to speak of this and not go and look at the estate?
We should look around. Yes, of course. I brought friends with me, many of which I can thank, and one of which is a little more special.
Olivia,
And he would look over at Lydia and then look back. But yes, if we can tour, that would be great. We do need to be getting back at some point.
And I think Olivia's like, this is a very large estate. Why don't you all get in my buggy? I'll take you around the grounds. At least the open parts of the grounds, anyway.
Arthur would stand by the buggy, waiting to help everyone else in before he gets in himself.
Lydia will take the help. She probably couldn't get in the buggy anyway without it. She'd fall. She's a hot mess.
I feel like everyone finally gets onto the buggy. And she does. She goes around the estate, gives a tour. At points, you'll stop and like get off, go look at the building a bit closer from the outside. There is one like grand atrium that is open to the public, so everyone goes in there. It's very big. There's a chandelier, and that has the crest in the center of it, inlaid in silver. And yeah, that's. Is there anything that you would like to see during the tour of this estate?
The only thing he would ask is which part of it would have been his mother's favorite.
Olivia sort of... She said... Well... From my memory, they weren't here too often. I think perhaps your father didn't get on well with the rest of his family.
And yet I'm set to inherit this.
Well, that's how inheritance works. At least when it comes to a dukedom. It pays no mind to who liked who. The line of title is unchangeable.
It seems as if maybe my father was a deeply good man.
Well, your mother seemed very fond of him at any rate.
The Countess did speak that my mother had married before.
Yes, that's right.
Do you know of any other whereabouts of the former marriage, or there weren't any children? I'm an only child, right?
Well, she was a widow, so whether there were children, I do believe there was. They were older than me, and I was so young at the time. But I feel no one knew as if they were where they were, or something. I'm sorry. I was young at the time.
I understand.
Eleanor didn't talk very much about it at all.
I understand. Everything's so new to me, and anything would be welcomed. And all of this is, as much as I was angry about it at first, is due to my friend Grace, who, unbeknownst to me, reached out, and now I can acknowledge where I come from. And family such as you.
I do hope you won't be a stranger. I can take you around the grounds any time. And if you'll go to London and talk to the lawyers.
I do hope you won't be a stranger. And I will happily speak with them. However, it is difficult because I don't want to disrespect those that took me in. And he'd look at Lydia. I need to make sure and honor the Ward family for what they have given me.
You have honored us.
Well, I'm sure they'll be very happy for you. That's all Olivia says on the matter. I'm sure they'll be driving you down to London themselves. Isn't that right?
So.
Lady Ward.
If it were my choice, I would certainly do as Arthur wishes.
There you have it.
I imagine Arthur would have reached out to grab Grace's hand when he was talking about thanks to Grace, and in that moment would have reached out for Lydia's. Like holding both of their hands sitting in between them.
Oh god,
yeah,
so
Grace,
awkward.
Grace would have let go of Arthur's hand, obviously, as soon as that happened. She's been sort of like a dark mood, has sort of been over her this whole time, like punctuated by bits of like, you know, acknowledgement of Arthur and like happiness for Arthur when he's speaking about her, but the rest of the time it's
on the other side of you, Lydia like blushes every time you show her affection, but then at the same time is like being really awkward as well. And like trying to not be in visual of Grace as much as possible.
And Grace is not looking at her as
and,
much as possible.
And Lydia's not looking at Grace as much as possible.
Does the Baroness pick any of this up?
I imagine the Baroness very much is, and is just keeping her mouth shut because she's like, this is awkward. And I don't know why.
It's great.
But Arthur seems happy, and they seem happy for him. I don't understand. That's basically what's going on in her head.
Mm. And I think when they she drives them back to the gate, Grace says to Arthur, It is a magnificent estate. It is beyond belief.
I never would have imagined anything of the like.
I'm so happy for you, Arthur.
If it does become mine, please tell me you will come visit.
You will hardly be able to keep me away.
I would hope you would have a home here as much as you have a home wherever you choose.
And I think on that, like, Grace kind of like looks down for a second and then she says, you could go back with Lady Lydia and Lady Catherine as far as the gate and walk the rest of the way. It would be much quicker than taking the public coach. And since Lady Catherine is there, it would be proper. I'm happy to go back on my own.
Are you sure? You seem...
Yes.
You seem less excited than I would have thought.
Arthur, I'm overjoyed for you. It is everything that I knew that you deserved. Trust me, it's not on account of you. I just need some time to think.
Do give me a hug.
And she will, but like the like strength of emotion that was in the last time they hugged, like, isn't there.
Yeah. Get home safe, all right?
I will. I'm no stranger to walking, and she sets off walking down the path.
Arthur would stand there and watch for a bit before turning and going over to Lady Lydia. I did not expect this to be what it is.
I wasn't certain what to expect, but this is certainly beautiful.
Indeed.
So does that mean you're going to leave Eaton Grange then? I mean, what a question to ask. I'm certain you are.
I'm conflicted.
Well, you're not going with Miss Clark.
Oh, Grace? She said it would be proper enough to ride back with you, seeing as the Baroness is here.
Oh, right.
Is that I can run back if you would prefer?
No, I would not.
Well, you see, I'm conflicted. I feel as if I leave Eaton Grange, I would no longer be allowed to spend the time that I have with you.
Lydia kind of blushes when you say that, and then I'm certain we can find time. And if there is not, then perhaps you have more important things to do.
What is more important does not matter to me anymore. What matters to me is finding a home, and a home is more than an estate.
That is what I like to think, but I fear my mother thinks otherwise.
And I do hope, in whatever way, she was trying to look out for me. I do believe that. But I worry of the motivation for knowing of my inheritance, and if that was why she asked me to court you.
If she knew of this, Lydia looks around. I'm certain I could see her plotting that very much so. But As odd as my mother can be, I would hope she would not do so. And the way Miss Olivia Bed spoke of your father, perhaps there's more to the story than we both know.
I do know that your mother did know of my mother having been married before.
Well, then maybe she knows your father's name. And we can figure out whatever else.
I don't know if your mother will speak of me again for the rebellious nature in which I took to visit here.
Well, let me handle my mother.
She did assure me that you didn't know.
I didn't. Not that I didn't ask. But only recently.
I do hope that this does not affect in any way, positive or negative, how you view me. I am still a mister.
I fear you're most likely not.
To me, I will always still be a mister.
To you, you are just as you are, Mr. Beddington. But I don't mind that.
And that feels like the moment that that conversation comes to a close as they head back to Eaton Grange, which now seems a little bit smaller, which it never has before, really, because it's by far the largest estate in its area. It is clear that your mother has noted your absence.
Oh, she knows?
She knows you were gone.
Hmm.
She doesn't specifically know where you went.
Okay. Okay, go ahead.
There you go.
Do you want to have a private conversation with Arthur at some point? But I think it doesn't have to be today if we don't want to.
Well, we do have 10 minutes left.
I know.
So if it was a 10-minute conversation, then be my guest.
Perhaps we meet for ice cream? Okay. I think Miss Pan sees us again.
Mrs. Pan just sees you and she's like, I'm going to the cool room. Already know.
I think when
Got
they're...
the strawberry back in stock.
Finally, the strawberry. It's my favorite.
Weirdly, I'd like to indulge in the lemon.
Again? Why is that?
Just for the memory of where that night went.
I
And
apologize
reflecting
for my demeanor that night. I don't know why you'd want to remember that night.
That night was just as important as any other night with you.
I do have a question of you.
Yeah. Anything.
It's a bit personal.
What's more personal than showing you the estate that I knew nothing about and seen it even before I was able to see it?
Well, I guess there's two parts to it. And the first is, what do you think is important when it comes to marriage? My mother speaks of duty and my place. But what about the matters of the heart?
I've spent my whole life focused on duty and what is important and about, only to discover that underneath it all was a little bit of cruelty. I think the heart knows what the heart wants. And while you may have multiple loves, as it seems my mother did have,
And what about you?
I'm still discovering what that is, but there's certainly something to you, my lady.
And what about others?
The only others I've had are mere friends. Friendships, kinships. I'd like to think that I've had love for your family and in its entirety for all that you've given me.
But that is not what I heard.
What did you hear?
Perhaps that's why my heart has been gated. I heard that you were already betrothed to another, and that you were meaning to leave the estate for this love.
Wherever that rumor would have come from is simply a fabrication. I've never had eyes for anyone.
But who would spread such a rumor?
Well, perhaps someone who is aiming to protect me in some way. Or protect you.
From what?
I guess my family's scandal they may have known about, and the stain it could have put on the ward name, which is why your mother probably kept this from me. Or
then why would she usher us together?
To which I am still confused, aside from the fact that I don't know. But I can assure you, I've never had eyes for another.
Well then. She like eats the ice cream and just kind of feels dumb.
I do apologize if that rumor misguided you, and it's deeply sorrowful if it made you feel any such way towards me, but I assure you this is the truth. Much as I described before, if you need so, you can place your hands here.
And I said, I'm the one that should be apologizing. Like I said, I was not very kind to you the other day. I heard rumors and things of that sort, and I thought you and my brother and... I'm happy to hear that it is all a misunderstanding then.
Yes.
But I would be careful. As my mother says, rumors, although they may be lies, they have their effects.
And at the end of the day, I think if there's anything I can take from the love between my father and mother that made me, perhaps what others think carries less weight, or carries more weight than it should.
I wish to be so optimistic as you are.
It is easy to be optimistic when such good news has befallen upon you.
I'm certain it has. An estate and family all in one day.
And someone that I could possibly see myself sharing it with.
She kind of blushes and she just shoves more ice cream into her mouth.
Amazing. That feels like might be where we end our episode today.
Sounds good. We were all worried. We're like, how are we going to fill 4 hours without Lord Victor and his drama? All right. Well, thank you all for joining us for today's episode. Episode 4. Whew, we are getting close to that mid. Next episode will be with the Downstairs cast, which is certain to be exciting. And they have some more drama of their own. And I'm also excited for Chauncey to hear about what
Oh my gosh.
they've spied upon. Milton's spreading that rumor. He's got the Clarkington ship going. So first and foremost, thank you for everyone for watching, as well as thank you to our sponsor, who is Roll20. We appreciate you. Roll20 does all of when you see our dice rolling devices and maps on our Thursday show. That is how we do it, if you're curious. And I believe EE's been working on some more cool scripts that we've been creating to make things faster. So if you're interested in checking that out, do so. And of course, thank you to our supporter today, Empiric. Let's get some roll love in chat for Empiric. They are our Patreon over on our Patreon. If you are a legend tier or above, just like Empiric, you can support an episode as well, and that is the best way to support us in regards to helping us pay our cast and to keep the show running and telling more lovely stories. We also put a whole bunch of other goodies up on Patreon for different sub levels, so if you're interested in any of those, we have new letters that have been arriving every Friday right to your inbox, and some of them have not. Well, actually, a lot of them have not been read yet. So if you are interested in getting like a sneak peek into what is going on, you should definitely read some of those spicy letters. And of course, EE's Piety PD, I always said that weird word wrong, Packs and Patrons is up for our D&D game over on Ascension, as well as the new character sheet for Acolyte Bridget Rosenworth will be coming soon. You can become a Twitch subscriber right here by subbing over on Twitch, and that will give you access to emotes and the video early. But if you go over to our YouTube channel, we do upload our videos over there as well, and if you're a YouTube member, you can access some of those emotes as well. And if you are a YouTube member, Twitch subscriber, or a Patreon, you can get access to our private Discord where we discuss things, and I'm sure people will have questions and thoughts after today's episode. I'm curious to see what you think. And we know that not everybody can support us in a monetary way, and we think that, you should support yourself first and foremost. So there are a lot of free ways that you can support us by watching live right here on Twitch, making clips while we're live, watching over on YouTube, subscribing, liking, and commenting, and of course following us over on Twitter and Facebook, and liking, sharing, and retweeting and commenting on all of the things. Those are great ways in order to, share the algorithm of us and hopefully get more people to watch and see the lovely stories that we like to tell. And with that, I'm going to let our lovely cast say where you can find them at, because not only are they amazing here, but they have other things and projects that they're working on. So we will start it off with, is he now a Duke? Sir Duke Beddington? I don't know what we call you now. Played by Apocalypto. Where can people find you at when you're not finding your long lost family and your new estate?
And
being sassy AF.
Yeah.
You were so sassy with the Countess.
Today was a roller coaster of emotions for sure. You can find me on my podcast, Go My Favorite Sports Team, which is on Spotify, Google, Apple, Amazon, all of that. But you can also find me hopefully back on Twitch soon, streaming Apocalypto_12 there and everywhere else on social media except YouTube, because YouTube doesn't like the underscore, but it still pops up. I'm just Tyler Scheid everywhere, Apocalypto_12.
Awesome. And next, we have our Facilitator, Storybrewers, and also plays a bajillion other characters. Where can people find you at when you are not being sad, but also, bonding with your old friend at the same time?
Yes, so you can find me at Storybrewers on Twitter or Facebook, or you can find all our games, including this one, at storybrewersroleplaying.com. And as well as that, we do have a Kickstarter running for some other games at the moment, our Little Box line, which has 51 hours to go. So we are almost wrapped up with that. And that's called Little Box Journeys, and it is 4 one-shot games in little boxes. So if that sounds of interest, 51 hours to check it out.
Go now. And of course, I am Margaret Crone. You can find me at Margaret Crone in all of the places, because that's where I'm at. I'm doing a whole bunch of projects, so if you want to keep in touch with those, check them out over there. I also make games for a living. I'm currently working on a project called Ashes of Creation, and you can find that at Ashes of Creation in all the places. And I'm working on the advanced version of Witches and Spellcraft, which you can find on DriveThruRPG if you're interested in checking that out. And with that, we are going to go record an after show that we will be putting up on our Patreon. So if you'd like to see what our stars and wishes are and all the thoughts that we have from this episode, definitely go check it out over there. And we'll see you all next week with the Downstairs cast to see what they get up to. And then I believe the next 2 episodes after that are both combined casts. It shall be exciting. And with that, we bid you all farewell.